How's it going, guys? aRenG Life here, and today some new leaks have come out for Duel Links. New cards, new event data. Some of the data does have to do with the new world that was being added, and it looks like legitimately GX has more or less been confirmed. We are seeing an image that I'm going to go ahead and put up on the screen right now, where you can change the series. And actually, I did mention this before, that this would be how they would do it, because it's how we have our events scheduled, more or less. You change from your typical Yu-Gi-Oh banner to Paradox Bros, Pegasus, or whatever. So you change the gate. And on this one, you're going to be changing the gate to Yugioh GX. So legitimately, GX is coming. And I also have a list of a few of the characters, so guys, stick around. I'll go ahead and talk about those in a bit. But I also wanted to go ahead and talk about some new leaked cards that were also data mined along with this update. I don't think these have to do with GX in particular, but it looks like, it kind of looks like some of them work together. So I don't know if it means we're gonna get like 2 more structure decks of some kind. From what it looks like, we might be getting a fairy structure deck and a plant structure deck, because we have a few really good plant cards and a few really good fairy cards. So let's go ahead and just get started with some of the generic stuff. First up, we're going to be looking at a card called Cashback, and this card looks really interesting, but it doesn't look like it's going to be seeing a lot of meta play. It just looks like a good counter to certain cards that pay life points to activate their effects. When your opponent activates a card effect that they would be paying life points to activate, you get to negate the activation and return it to the deck. So I'm not saying that this card is going to be that great. It does kind of shut down some decks. I know it definitely counters Venus. I know for a fact it'll stop Cyberstein or Cyberstein, however you want to call him. But I don't know how relevant that's going to be. And this card is called Finite Cards. Basically, the effect states the hand size limit of each player becomes 3. I don't know how that could be good in any normal sense. I mean, I think, if anything, it could be used by maybe some other duelists just to kind of screw you over. This would completely shut down a farming deck that requires you having a lot of cards in hand. And moving on, I am seeing the next card. It is called Hoshiningen, which technically translates to Star Human. So it's like Starboy, but Star Human. And it's basically Starboy, but for lights. So it powers up lights and it powers down darks. So plus 500 to lights, minus 400 to darks. It's basically the same as Starboy, to be honest. Since we are looking at some fairy support, I think this might be the first of it, because it does power up lights, and fairies are usually light. So there you go. And that's pretty much it for that card. Moving on, I am seeing a card called Ancient Lamp. I think this is one of Kaiba's cards, and this card, out of the few that I've mentioned, looks probably the most interesting, because you could put it face up and just special summon La Jin from your hand, or La Jin, the mystical genie of the lamp. You can special summon La Jin. I don't know what you're going to want to do with them. I mean, you can just normal summon La Jin, but I mean, it might be a way to get multiple cards on the field. But I think the real interesting effect from that this one has, if they attack it when it's face down, it turns into a magic arm shield. Like, you get to pick one of your opponent's monsters that's not attacking and make the attacking monster hit that one instead. I think that one's pretty cool. I don't know how meta it would be, because I mean, it's basically magic arm shield, but you do have to use your set, your normal summon slash set for it. So I don't know. It looks like an interesting card, because it's got multiple purposes. So moving on, they went ahead and corrected something. They were showing off the card Pharaoh's Treasure with the new Yugi event, but I don't know why. I mean, they kind of messed up. It was not supposed to be in there. That one's gonna be in this one. I did talk about it. It's basically a search card where if you activate this card, put it face up in your deck. If you draw it again, and then you get to add a card from your graveyard into your hand or something like that. So it's kind of like a graveyard search kind of thing. I don't know. I think this card is gonna be really slow. So I don't know how good it's gonna be, to be honest. I think it's pretty bad. But moving on, and we're looking at another card called Royal Command. Now, this is a continuous, and it doesn't look like it's going to be meta, but effect does state flip monster effects cannot be activated. Also, their effects are negated. So it just really hates on flip monsters. I don't think we're ever going to get to a point where flip monsters is going to be meta. Moving on, we got another card that looks pretty cheeky. It looks interesting. It looks like a fun card, to be honest. And this card is called Royal Writ of Taxation. Now, this card has quite an effect. So I'm going to go ahead and read it to you. It says, activate only during your opponent's standby phase. Select one random card from your opponent's hand. Look at it. Unless the selected card or card with the same name is normal summoned or activated by the end of your next turn, inflict 1,000 damage to your opponent. If the selected card or card with the same name is normal summoned or activated by the end of your next turn, you take 1,000 damage. So I think it's just an interesting card. It's more of a fun card to troll, because you randomly pick a card in your opponent's hand. Let's say you pick a Blue Eyes. Always go for Blue Eyes. Then they show you their Blue Eyes. Now they have till the end of your next turn. If they don't summon that Blue Eyes, they take damage. But if they do, you take damage. So I don't think it's gonna be good. I just think it's kind of fun. It's like a really cheeky card. But yeah, moving on from that, we're looking at the best card in the game. The card called Man Beast Ares. Now this card is a level 3 500 Beast Warrior, and it's got the OP effect that states, after a chain of 2 or more links resolves, this card gains 500 attack. So this card can become a whopping 1,000 attack if your opponent activates 2 cards, or if you respond to 2 chain links. Obviously I'm joking, this card is so garbage. This is like the worst card I've ever seen. Oh my god. Why would they release this? Why would they release this card? This card looks so terrible. Oh no, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if we're ever going to be in a position where we need a 500 effect Beast Warrior that's like Earth or something. I think it's so stupid. Alright, but whatever. Bad cards aside, moving on to actually some of the more decent support. First of the more decent support, which I think is gonna be one of the structure deck cards, if it is a structure deck. I don't know. Maybe it's some other character with a new legendary duelist or some other character, and they're gonna have this card. This card is called the Sanctuary in the Sky, and this is more or less kind of like Teia's ability, where you don't take damage, but this one's only for fairy types. So it does not work with Unhappy Girl. She is a spellcaster. But yeah, it's basically battle damage from to a controller of a fairy type monster from battle involving a fairy type monster becomes 0. It's a field spell. I mean, you don't run it because of its effect. It's more like you run it because a lot of things rely on it. This card is like Umi. You don't run Umi because of the 200 power up. You run it because you got like Daedalus or something that's gonna blow up the field, and by using Umi as a resource. So moving on, I'm gonna go ahead and talk about some of the stuff that actually uses the Sanctuary in the Sky. So the next one is Light of Judgment. Now this is one of those cards I was talking about. It basically states, if Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field, you can activate this card by discarding 1 light monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then choose 1 card your opponent controls or 1 card in their hand. And you can look at their hand, either or basically. So I don't think you can choose their hand, look at their hand, and then decide, nah, I'm gonna pick your monster. It's gonna be one or the other. You have to stick to what you choose. So you can basically get whatever is in their hand or the monster on their field and send it to the grave. I don't know how good this is gonna be. I mean, it does say you get to send it to the grave. So if it's a monster on the field and it can't be destroyed, it can't be whatever, this does send it, so it does not destroy. But other than that, I don't think this card is that great. I mean, I don't know. It's like a -1 for you. Technically -2 because you have to activate this card, and you have to have Sanctuary in the Sky in the field, and then your opponent loses 1 card. I mean, it could be a really important card for your opponent, and you could be throwing away garbage that needs to be in your grave or something, but I don't know. I just think this card, it's support for Sanctuary in the Sky, and I wonder if it's going to be really useful in the deck. But from what I see, I don't see it to be that great. Moving on to the actual good cards, looks like we got one of the possible boss monsters for a fairy type deck. We have Neo-Parsheth, the Sky Paladin. Now, if you guys remember, we got Parsheth, Air Knight Parsheth. This one basically is the evolved form of him, getting a little more attack. It has the same exact ability. When it inflicts damage to your opponent, you draw a card, which is a really good effect. But it's got the added effect that if the Sanctuary in the Sky is on the field and your life points are higher than your opponent's, this card gains attack and defense equal to the difference in life points. If you get your life points high enough, this thing could become like, I don't know, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000. It could become really, really strong. So I think that's probably why you'd run it. But besides this card, there's another really good fairy type card I also wanted to talk about, and that card is called Tethys, Goddess of Light. Now, this card is another one of those really interesting cards. It's a 5-star fairy, 2400, and it's got an amazing effect. While this card is face up on the field, when you draw a fairy type monster or monsters, you can reveal one of those monsters to draw one more card, and you can keep doing it. I know because I had a friend that actually made a deck around this, and you could just draw your whole deck if you have nothing but fairies. This card is actually really good though. I gotta say, this card looks really good. That draw power is going to be insane. Also combined with Shizu's ability, every time you draw, you're going to gain 1,000. I don't know if that's only for the normal draw phase though. I could be wrong about that. I'm not 100% sure. So if we do have a Sanctuary in the Sky structure deck coming sometime soon, it looks like it's going to be pretty decent. It's got some pretty good boss monster support. I'm hoping it comes with Air Knight Parshath because it kind of needs it if you're going to run Neo Parshath. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll come with it. It could be that Neo Parshath's just going to be a card trader card or something. Maybe Tethys could be the boss card for that deck. But besides talking about all the fairy talk now, we're going to go ahead and talk about some of the other deck support, which if it is a deck, we're talking about some of that plant support. Now, we're going to start talking about this card, and this card is actually pretty good as well. This card is called Botanical Girl. Not a very strong card. It's 1300 attack, 1100 defense, 3-star water. So it's pretty weak, but it has a really good effect. It's got the effect that states, when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add one plant type monster with 1,000 or less defense from your deck to your hand. Anything that adds cards from your deck to your hand is really good. There's the first thing that points to like a really strong deck. And moving on, we have some more support for that plant support, I guess. We have the next card we're looking at is called Fragrant Storm. Now, this is a spell. It's just a normal spell, but it has a really interesting ability. Basically, you target one plant type monster on the field. It doesn't even have to be in your control. It can be on the field, and you destroy that target. And if you do, draw a card. Then if that card, the card you drew, is a plant type monster, you can reveal it and draw one more card. So this card can be like a legit, like, I don't know, +1, +2, because it depends on what you destroy. But I mean, if anything, in the right deck, you can get a good 2 draws from this, and I think that would be pretty good. So I see this card in combination with Botanical Girl, because you can destroy her, and there you go. You get to add a plant, draw a card, and then possibly draw another card. So you got some pretty cool combos there. And we're not even done with all the plant support. We got one more card to look at, and that card is called the World Tree. And it looks like it would be their field spell, but it's not. It's actually a continuous spell, and it has the ability, it's got one of those counter type abilities, so it kind of holds counters. I'm going to read the effect. It does state, each time a face-up plant type monster on the field is destroyed, remember the previous effect, place one flower counter on this card. You can remove any number of flower counters from this card to activate these effects. It has 3 little bubbles next to it. First one does state 1 counter. So if you remove 1 counter, you can target one plant type monster on the field, and it gains 400 attack and defense permanently. If this card leaves the field, it keeps that buff. So that's a pretty interesting ability, just a 400 attack buff. 2 counters. If you want to remove 2 counters, you can target 1 card on the field, destroy that target. Simple as that. You can pop 2 of your cards, get 2 counters on this, destroy your opponent's blue eyes or something. Pretty decent ability. And also we got 3 counters. Target 1 plant type monster in your graveyard and special summon that target. That card, that effect is also really good because I know of some plant boss monsters like Talaya, I think is what that card is called. It's like a 2800 plant monster that protects your other plant monsters, and you can just special summon it, and that's really good. That's pretty crazy. I would love to see a structure deck that would support plants. I think that'd be pretty crazy. And that's pretty much it for all the new card leaks. I just wanted to go over that. Those look pretty crazy. Aside from those, I also have more information on the Yugioh GX leaks. I have the names of quite a few characters that are listed in the game data, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about those right now. So it could be possible that we are gonna be able to unlock all of these characters. I don't know if all at once. I don't know if it's gonna take a while. Maybe they're gonna start releasing them one by one. But let's go ahead and start off. Of course, you got Jaden or Judai, but you got that Jaden Yuki, first character. They don't know anything about him. His name is just in the game data, nothing else. We just know his name. We also see Solomon Mudo, basically Yugi's grandpa. Some other names we're seeing. We got the name Zane, Aster, Jesse, Chaz, Alexis, which I mean, some of these guys were expected. We got Velian, or I think Crowler. I think that's what he went by in the dub. You got Crowler. Got Atticus, Ubel, Bastion. I don't know. I'm seeing all those names in the game data, and this could be pretty interesting. I mean, we already have quite the roster of GX characters, and I don't know if they're all going to come out all at once. I'm kind of hyped to see all these GX characters show up, mainly because I want to see what kind of abilities they would have. Like, I don't know, search E-Heroes or add a polymerization to hand. We do see Zane, so I'm guessing we could be seeing some Cyber Dragons as well. I think Cyber Dragons might be pretty broken in Duel Links, but I don't know, man. So some of these look pretty cool, and that's pretty much all I wanted to show off today. Just all this new data just coming out all at once. But anyway, thank you guys for watching today. Have a great day, and see you guys.